Hey guys, it's Del back from Spartan Racing. So this is a little video just on my Simucube 2 Pro settings for Raceroom. Especially since the last update, Raceroom has really lifted the game. The results that are coming out of this out of the sim now are excellent. I've really been enjoying getting around and getting around the track in Raceroom. It's been excellent. The force feedback feels amazing. The cars feel incredible. And yeah, so I just thought I'd put this video together on what my settings are for Raceroom. So I've saved a profile here. So here we go. It's overall strength again at 100%. I like to always have it 100% because I'm using the full dynamic range of what the motor can put out. I've set the steering ratio to 540. No real reason. The game would normally adjust per car anyway, but I have this on 540. None of the cars in there seem to go anything more than that anyway. Soft bump stop feel. So I've got some 9% dampening. Oh, sorry, the reconstruction filter is set at 3. Torque bandwidth unlimited. The dampening is at 9%. The friction at 13. A little bit of inertia at 8%. Static force reduction at 7. I leave the slew rate off and ultra low latency at 20%. I don't have any peaking and notch filters set up. And then just in my direct inputs, a little bit of dampening and a little bit of friction. So 10% dampening and 17% friction. So that's just the base settings for the Simucube. Now, if I jump into Raceroom, and if I go into the settings, so what I'm going to do is, we'll just drop into the settings tab. Yeah, so we just drop into the settings tab, and the force feedback settings I have set up in here. Obviously just force feedback, and I don't really have anything else other than, oh, here we go. So 100% force feedback strength. I've got a 100% of the linearity. So it says this reduces the dynamic range of the forces. A lower setting amplifies small and medium forces to achieve more consistent cornering weight and weaker steering wheels. So this is obviously a stronger steering wheel, so I just left this at 100%. I don't have any minimum forces, and I've got the max force controls the clipping point of the force feedback. At 100%, the game allows the output to go all the way to the full output of 100%, so I'll leave that at 100, and I've left this stationary friction at 50%. That was kind of default. Then I have a little bit of engine vibration, 24% in the bump application, and I don't actually put anything in for the gear shifts. It really annoys me when you're driving and the wheel is sort of jumping every time you shift gear. So that's pretty much it for that. Now, I do make some changes when I go into racing with the cars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I do with the actual car itself. Let's grab let's get a GTR 3. Here we go. Let's have a look at what we got. I like that Corvette. So we'll grab the Corvette. I'm just on Monza, and just boot this up. The one thing I've noticed is with Raceroom that it's still really slow to launch initially. Some of you others might actually be getting that as well. Sometimes I've sat here for 5 minutes waiting for it to load. Other times it's loaded in 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm not running a slow system by any means. So one of the things I always do is I go into car setup, and I go to the steering angle. That's at 540. I always put the steering lock up. Now the default when you come into this car, the steering lock is at 16 degrees. I always put on every car, I put this up to this maximum. It was something I read a few years ago in the Simbin forums that it was suggested to always have that up at maximum. So I've kind of just left it like that. It's just one of those things. Now the force feed multiplier, this is where you'll really see it making a difference. The default on this Corvette is 1.5 times. I've found driving the Corvette around 0.9 actually works really nicely for it. So I haven't had any issues running it down at 0.9. Now that's okay for the Corvette. So if I drop out to another car, so I'll just quit out of this and I'll just grab another car. Which is one of the cars I was driving, which was one of the open wheelers. I think it was the FR3. Yep. Jump into the same thing. So what I've been doing is slowly just taking each car out and for a practice and just getting the menus right, and it seems to be sticky anyway, so that when you go back into that car, it remembers what you've actually set. So if I go into car setup on this F3, as you can see, its maximum steering angle at the moment is 375 degrees, so the 540 I've got on my wheel's fine. Again, I've upped the steering lock to 15 degrees up to the maximum, and again the force feedback multiplier on this was 2x, so I dropped this down to 1.7, and that worked quite well for me for the F3 car. So it's just one of those things that I'm finding this is more what I'm playing with in this area, just this force feedback multiplier, and that gives me some adjustments. And then when I actually go into the into a race, what I have loaded up on the screen is the little force feedback indicator, as you can see there, and then so you can see what's happening on the graph on the left there when I start getting around the tracks here. Now, I always check this to see if I'm clipping in anywhere, and I have noticed that mainly on Monza, there's a couple of corners when you hit a fairly significant bump that it will get a tiny little bit of clipping, but in most cases it's pretty good. And if you find you're getting a bit of clipping, you can always drop down some of these forces anyway. See if I can get it to clip there. No. So you see hitting that bump fairly well, and it didn't clip. Just jump over this. No. So I'm just sort of bashing a few bumps here to see whether I can get it to clip. Oh, pretty close, but still didn't clip. So I'm getting a really nice feeling through the wheel. It's I can definitely feel the like a bit of tyre twist, I guess you would call it. And feeling what the actual car is doing underneath. So as you can see now, I'm getting bashing. Let's run over this. Yep, see, I got a bit of a spike there. So I could reduce that by just reducing that multiplier down or reducing my overall force feedback, but it's so rare that happens that I wouldn't even I don't even worry about it. It's not a cause for concern. The main part of the actual driving around here is really nice and lively, I'd say is the best word I can put for it. So yeah, so that's just my setting up for Raceroom. Again, these settings work for me. They may not be right for everybody. There's plenty of smart people out there who will no doubt come up with some great setups, and hopefully this is something to sort of help you get started. Anyway, thanks again for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye now.